Hello, fellow fellows, and welcome to 300 Seconds of Science. I'm your new host, Jake the Roosh, Ruocchio-Cole. But because our lower thirds aren't that big, you can just call me the Roosh. And before you start the comments asking where Adam is and saying, oh no, new host, don't worry. He's still a host and he's still here working on more awesome stuff for you guys. So y'all probably remember this guy, the pinnacle of prepubescent popularity. If you had one of these as a kid, you were officially cool. And you probably remember playing the awesome games such as Tetris, Pokemon, and the Super Mario series. But how did we get from this to this? Well, over the years, we've been able to increase the processing power inside these little devices. That means that these systems can bring us better games and better graphics with better memory. As you can see through the years, the internal power of these devices gives us better graphics and you can tell pretty easily the differences between the generations. But as you probably know, these handhelds aren't the only examples of tech progression in gaming. The differences between the old and the new are pretty insane. Just thinking about how Pong and Space Invaders paved the way for virtual reality and Halo is pretty amazing. No one could have predicted anything this intense happening to the gaming industry back then. Pong literally had no CPU, it just used discrete logic. Now most gaming technology today uses custom-built CPUs and graphics systems that blow any 2D side-scrollers right out of the water. The NES used an 8-bit microprocessor based off an MOS technology 6502 core for its original processing unit, and contains 2 kilobytes of onboard work RAM, with the ability of expanding and increasing its RAM capabilities by inserting a game cartridge. These cartridges vary in size from 8 kilobytes to 1 full megabyte of space. That's right, a whole megabyte. But you say, wait a minute, that's not a lot of space at all. And you're right. Games take up a lot more space now, gigabytes upon gigabytes. This means that games now need a better CPU and better graphics handling systems. Things really started to change when the beloved Nintendo 64 hit the shelves in the United States on March 1st, 1997. With its new 64-bit CPU, it had the graphics capability to render games in 3 dimensions. However, things started to settle down when the handheld industry started to gain momentum with the release of the Game Boy Color. But back to the Nintendo 64. Cartridges for this system are comparatively larger to the NES by a lot. That 1 whole megabyte max and little processing power turned into a 3-dimensional powerhouse, with cartridges that made it to 64 megabytes of space. In order to utilize the power of the Nintendo 64, developers created their own microcode. Nintendo 64 games that ran this code benefited from higher polygon counts, as well as better lighting, animations, physics, and a lot more. But let's jump ahead even farther. In what seems like no time, the technology in the gaming industry boomed with the rise of the internet, and technology has grown to a point where we now have systems with the processing power to play beautiful AAA games. The newest generations of console gaming, such as the Xbox One, use intense technology to play games. Standard Xbox Ones have 8 whole gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, clocked at 2133 MHz, with an 8-core 64-bit AMD custom CPU, at a frequency of 1.75 GHz. It also comes with 500 gigabytes, or half of a terabyte, of internal hard drive space, with the capability of external hard drive support. Not to mention lots of other features such as online markets, Blu-ray players, DVD drives, and backwards compatibility, which means that you can also play older Xbox 360 games on newer hardware. All of these different systems and more stemmed off of the one idea of Pong. And with the rise of virtual reality hardware such as the Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive and Sony's Project Morpheus, who knows where we'll be in 10 years. That's it for me here at 300 Seconds of Science. I'm your host, the Roosh, and I would like to invite you to like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube. And I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. Adios, and stay curious.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. To find out how you can make Emmy-winning media, visit the UA School of Communication online. ZTV. Make media. Make a difference.